Hello everyone. In this video, we will be looking at how to use Zoom as a student. These are the topics we will be covering. Please use the timestamps provided in the video description below to go to the relevant parts of the video that you need. So before we proceed, what is Zoom? Well, Zoom is an online video conferencing tool used to conduct virtual meetings. Your facilitator at USC will be using this to conduct online lectures, virtual office hours, and group sessions. To use Zoom, you will need a few things. First, you will need broadband internet. The internet connection should be stable and relatively fast. Any type of broadband should be fast enough. If you're using Wi-Fi, ensure that you are getting a stable, strong signal. You will need either a computer, a laptop, or mobile device that connects to the internet. And finally, you would want to consider a headset, but that's optional. The microphone that comes built in your device will be good enough. If you are thinking about headsets, you could look at the Logitech brand. Sometimes you also get a pair of headphones with your cell phones. That is another option to use, and these headphones have good noise cancelling properties. But as I said, this is more of an optional thing for you to get really high quality audio. But as I said, the microphone that comes built in your laptop or your phone and so on should be good enough. So the next step that you will want to do is to create a Zoom account. So you'll open up your web browser. You could use Google Chrome, and you want to go to uscaribbean.zoom.us. So you just type in that into your web browser and you click enter, and you will come to this web page. So you're going to be clicking on sign in. You'll then be directed to this page where you go to where it says sign up free. You click there. You would verify your date of birth. So for this example, I'm just going to put January 1st, and I'll just go down to 1986, and then I'll click continue. And now it's going to ask you for your email address. You're going to put your USC student email address here. And then you're going to click sign up, and it's going to ask you for a few more things, for a little more information, and just go through that process, and eventually you're going to have your Zoom account. Now, if for some reason this process where you enter your email address and you click sign up doesn't work, then you have another option where you could click on sign in with Google. So what you're going to do is that you're going to authenticate your Zoom account using your Google credentials. So that's another way in which you could do it. But in most instances, just entering your USC student email address here and clicking sign up should be fine. So you could do that way. So once you have finished signing up and creating your Zoom account, the next step is to download the Zoom client. So you go to the homepage once again, uscaribbean.zoom.us, and this time you're going to be clicking on download clients. Now if you're using a computer desktop like I am, you will go to the desktop client, which is the first one on the list, and you click download. Now if you are using your phone, you scroll down a little bit on the page and you go to Zoom mobile apps. And if you're using an iOS device such as an iPhone or an iPad, you would download the app from the Apple App Store. If you are using an Android device, then you would download from Google Play. So you'll be downloading the Zoom apps there. And then when you install it and you click sign in, you would have already created the credentials from the sign up process that we did before. So now you should have your Zoom account and you should have your Zoom client, and all you have next to do is to start your Zoom meeting. The final thing I want to show you on this homepage that's going to be useful as well is that you could also click on Zoom support. And on the Zoom support page, there will be these nice little short videos and webinars and a lot of resources that you can use to learn more about how to use Zoom and so on. So this is also another resource that you could explore. Now, to join the Zoom meeting, you would need the Zoom meeting URL. Now, there are a few ways in which the teacher may give you this URL. The link might be either be posted on Arian, or it might be built in your eLearn course. In most cases, it will be found on the welcome block. So in this first example here, I am the student Stan Lee, and I have logged into my eLearn account, and I'm on my course Instructional Design 101. And if I go to my welcome block, I do see that there's a Zoom link there for Zoom class sessions. So if I click on this link, I'm open up to the Zoom meeting here, and all I have to do is click on Join Meeting. And when I click on Join Meeting, it's then going to ask me to open zoom.us. And once I click on that, the meeting will begin. So that's one way in which the teacher might do it, is to set it up on your eLearn course. Another way is where they share the actual link with you, either on Arian or they email it to you. So let's explore that one as well. So the Zoom link that your teacher shares with you will look something like this format. The teacher may also include the course code, the name of the course, and the name of the teacher. So in this example, it's IDDU 101 Instructional Design, and the teacher is Jason Matthew. And this here is the link for the Zoom session. Now, if you see the link blue and underlined like this, that means it's hyperlinked. As you can see, I'm seeing a little hand coming up there. That means I could click on this link and it will go straight into the Zoom meeting. If you don't see it hyperlinked, then all you have to do is copy and paste the link into your web browser, and it will go through the process of joining the meeting for you. Now, a few things to remember. Do not share this link on social media, because once you share the link on social media, it means that anyone who has access to the link will join the meeting. And if you've been watching the news and so on, you would have heard of really bad experiences where there are people coming in there and doing inappropriate things in the meeting. So please secure this link. Do not share it on social media. Do not share it with someone who does not belong to the class. Okay, so let's join this meeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the link and join the meeting. If you try to join a meeting and you get this message that I'm seeing here right now, where it's saying, waiting for the host to start this meeting, that means that the host hasn't started the meeting as yet. He might be on another Zoom call or something. So you just have to wait just for a little while. And once the teacher signs in, then you will automatically go in the session as well. So for this demo, I'm going to now sign in as the teacher on another computer. And you will see that once I sign in, this window on this computer is going to open up. Right, so as you can see, as soon as I signed in as the teacher on my other device, this meeting window opened on this computer. So now, as a student Stan Lee, I'm also in the meeting. So that's one way it can happen, is if you join the meeting before the teacher, you just have to wait until the teacher joins. Let's look at the other option where the teacher is already in the meeting and you are joining. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so in this scenario, the teacher had the meeting open and I am now joining in. So you see I get this dialog box here where it says choose one of the audio conference options. All right, now before I even go there, I could actually test my speakers and microphone. So I could click on this link. And it's asking me if I heard that noise. So that means it's testing the speakers. So I can click yes. And now it's asking me to speak in the microphone and I will hear an echo. So I'm hearing clearly, so that means my microphone is also working clearly. So my microphone is working, so I'm going to click yes. And now I'm going to click join with computer audio. So now I have joined the meeting and my microphone is on. Another feature that the teacher may turn on before you enter the meeting is what we call waiting rooms. So it's just as the name suggests, it's a room that the teacher has created where you go into that room before the meeting starts, and then the teacher allows you into the meeting. Now, while you are in the waiting room, you will not be able to communicate with other classmates in the class. You will not be able to see what's going on in the classroom. You have to wait for the teacher to let you in. So let's see how that looks. So I'm joining the meeting, and now because the host, the teacher, has turned on the waiting room feature, you see that I am now getting this message. Please wait, the meeting host will let you in soon. And you see that we're in the right meeting because I'm seeing the correct course code, the name of the course, and as well as my teacher's name. So I know I'm in the right spot. I just have to wait for the teacher to let me into the waiting room. So once the teacher hits admit, you would see that now you are entering the waiting room. And you could go through the process again, test your speaker microphone if you haven't done so before, or you could just click join with computer audio. Now, if you move your cursor to the bottom of the screen, you see that the control panel comes up. So if you're not seeing it right away, it's because your cursor is not at the bottom of the window, of the Zoom window. So you see, as I move my cursor upwards, the window disappears. Now, if I move my cursor down, the control panel comes back up. And the first icon to the far left is your microphone icon. And as you can see, I'm seeing a little green level indicator showing that it's recording my voice. All right, so it means that other people in the meeting can hear me. So I'm just going to mute that for now. So that's one thing you can do. So if you mute your mic, it means that nobody will be able to hear you in the meeting. And that's the preferred thing you want to have when you start a meeting. You want to have your mics mute so that the background noise doesn't interfere with the meeting. Now, if you click the up arrow here that is next to the microphone icon, you get more options. So one of the things you can do is that you can select the microphone that you want to use. So this would apply if you have more than one microphone on your system. So like in this case here, I have the built-in microphone that comes with the computer, but I also have an external USB microphone that I use, so which is what I'm using right now. So you see the tick is there. So I'm using the external microphone. You can select the speakers that you want to use. So in my example, I'm using the speakers that are built in my computer desktop. But if you have external speakers, they will come up here to choose, and you could choose them as well. And you could also test the speaker and microphone like what we did before. So if you are having any audio problems, the teacher is not hearing you, you could test it using this option here. The other icon here is your video icon. So you could turn your camera on and off, and that depends again if you have a camera built into your computer or whatever device you're using. You could also use an external camera, so it works just like how you would with the external microphone. Just attach it to your device, and once your device reads it, you could also use the up arrow to choose which camera you want to use. So that's another option. Now, for you guys who are using Apple devices like I am, so like if you're using an iMac or a MacBook Pro, the Apple computers, you would know that in the latest installation of the operating system, Catalina, you have a lot more privacy, security issues that you have to tell the computer that you want to allow the camera. So like, for instance, you just click on it and it says enable camera access for Zoom under security and privacy in system preferences. So you just go to the settings there, and then you will select zoom. So once you click on this here, you are allowing Zoom to access your camera, and your camera feed will come on. So you could just do that there. The general recommendation for when you're in a Zoom session for your class is that you keep your cameras off. Unless it is asked by your teacher to put your camera. And the major reason for this is that the video is going to take up a lot of the bandwidth. And what that means is that it's going to make it harder for students with lower speeds to participate in the session. So the more cameras that are on, the faster the internet you would require to view that session. So in terms of accessibility for all students in the meeting who have varying internet speeds, we ask that you keep the cameras off unless your teacher asks you to turn on your camera. You can click on participants, and that will bring up the participants panel, and you would see all the participants in the meeting. So in this example, remember, I am Stanley, the student, so you will always see your name at the top of the list of participants, and then at the bottom here, I'm seeing Jason Matthew, who is the host of the session and also the teacher of the session. So that's the participants panel. And if you look at the bottom here, there are some symbols that you can use throughout the meeting. So for instance, if you have a question, one of the things you could do is that you could click raise hand. And as you can see, there is a little hand icon that is coming up next to your name. All right. And the teacher is going to see the hand icon coming up, so he knows that you have a question. Or sometimes the teacher might ask a quick question and you could just simply click yes, or you could click no. Or sometimes if the teacher is going too fast, you could say go slower, go faster, and so on. And you could also click on more to get a few more icons as well. Next to the participants icon in the control panel, you have where you could speak to other participants or your teacher in the class. So you click on the chat icon here, and now the chat panel is up, and you could type a message. So you could type a message, and in this case, if you look in blue there, it's to everyone. So you type the message and you click enter, and it goes to everyone. Sometimes you might want to send a message to your teacher only. So you click on the arrow there next to everyone. And as you can see, there's Jason Matthew, who is the teacher host. So you could click on that. And as you can see, it says privately. So what that means is that you could ask your teacher a question, and everyone else in the group will not be able to see it. So your fellow classmates will not be able to see what you are telling the teacher. So you could ask a teacher a confidential question or something. Now, what you are able to do in the chat room depends on the settings that your teacher has for the meeting. So sometimes the teacher will turn off the chat feature altogether. So you might not be able to speak with or to text others within the session. Or sometimes the teacher will just keep it to that you are only able to chat with the teacher only, or sometimes you're just able to chat to everyone only. So if you're not getting some of these features, it's most likely because the teacher has turned off those settings. But I'm just showing you all the different things you can do using the chat panel here. All right, so the next two things is that you could share screen or you could record the session. Now again, that depends on if your teacher as the host allows you to do those things. So we're going to talk about those things in the next part of it, but I'm just going to go to this button here, which is leave. So you could leave the meeting at any time. So once you click leave, you would have left the meeting and the session will be over. Another thing that's important is that make sure that you have your full name available in the participants panel, because this will come in handy for when your teacher is taking attendance. So in this example here, I already have my name as Stan Lee, which is the full name of the person that we're using in this example. But let's say you did not see the full name because you didn't set it in your profile. What you could do is just hover with your cursor over your name, click more, and then click rename. And what that does is that you could now update your name here. So you could put your full name and then click rename. So then when a teacher is taking attendance, he can see your full name is there in the participants list. Sometimes in a Zoom session, your teacher will share a whiteboard with you. And the whiteboard is just like any whiteboard you would have had in the classroom. So you're able to write on it, put text up on it, draw diagrams, and so on. So let's look at how that looks. So I'm going to go to my other device, and as the teacher, I'm going to share the whiteboard and look at what happens on my screen as a student. Now, if you watch on the whiteboard, there is a pencil icon that's moving around, and that's actually the teacher who is writing, or he's drawing something right now. So he could scribble, he could draw, he could write, and so on the whiteboard. And the thing is, so can you. So once the teacher allows the annotation function to be available to students, you could also annotate. Now, to access the annotate toolbar, you just go to the top of the screen, you click on view options, and then you scroll to the bottom and you click annotate. And there we have the annotate toolbar. Now, if when you went to view options and you click on it and you're not seeing annotate, that's because the teacher has not enabled the settings for you as a student to access the annotation toolbar. Now, in this annotation toolbar, there's a few things you can do. So like the first one there you could click on is text, and you could click anywhere on the whiteboard, and then you could type in some text. So that's you typing in hello. All right. You can also, change the color to whatever you want. You could change the line weight. You could change the font and do a whole few other things using the format option here. But one thing to note is that once you type in your text and you click away from the text box here, you can't edit it anymore. You see how I can't click on it anymore and do anything? I can put a new text box and type something new, but I can't edit whatever I enter. So once you put in your text, make sure it's what you want and then move away, because you can't go back and edit after that. You could add more text, but you can't edit the text once you click away from it. Another thing you can do is that you could actually click the text box here again, and you can copy text from a Word document or whatever place you have, and then you could right click and then paste that text within this text box. So that's another option you have. So you could type on the whiteboard. So that's one thing you could do. You could also draw on the whiteboard. So for instance, you could, there's freehand draw. And if by chance, and this is optional of course, if you're using, let's say, a tablet and you have a stylus, then I would recommend you use your stylus so you get more control and you could write better and stuff. I know, for instance, the Apple Pencil works really well with the iPad on Zoom. So that's one thing. If you're looking for a tablet that does this, and this again is optional, you don't need this to use the whiteboard. You could also check out the Wacom tablets on Amazon, WACOM. But again, there's optional things if you want to experiment, but you don't need those things. You could just use your mouse or your trackpad on your laptop. That works fine. Or your finger if you're using a touch device such as a iPad or your phone. Let's see what else we have in this draw menu here. If you click on draw, you also could draw some different shapes. So you could draw a rectangle, and you could use the format to change the color and so on of your shapes. All right, you have circles, you have arrows. All right, you have a highlighter, so you could highlight. And again, you see your name is coming up as well. So the teacher knows exactly who is writing what, because he can check on his end the names of the people and what they are writing. So just remember that. All right, the stamp tool. If you want to give some feedback to people, you could add stars. They have some other options there, correct sign and hearts and so on that you could do. The arrow, if you click on that, you can then highlight certain things. All right, so like for instance, and then your name is going to come up. So you're just pointing out things on the whiteboard. The eraser is just as it suggests. You can erase whatever you have added to the whiteboard. Now you can't erase other people's stuff. So like for instance, this red line here was drawn by the host. If I click on the eraser here, I can't erase it. All right, because that is not something that I wrote on the whiteboard. I could erase this star here because I put that star on, but anything that somebody else wrote on the whiteboard, you won't be able to erase. You could undo. All right, or you could redo. You could click on clear. So like if you click on clear, what it does is that it clears everything that you wrote on the whiteboard. It doesn't clear what other people did on the whiteboard. It only clears what you have done. And then finally, if the whiteboard has something important that you would need in the future, you could actually save the whiteboard to your computer. So if you click on save, it just gives you an option. It tells you confirmation screen has been saved. Now, if you don't know where it is, if you watch, there was a prompt here, show. Either you'll see show in Finder if you're using an iOS device, an Apple device, or you would see show in folder if you're using Windows. And then it goes to that folder where it will have the screenshot. So you see this was the screenshot. So you could save the whiteboard. So it's really good for brainstorming and putting out ideas out there. Now, if for instance, you don't want the whiteboard to take up your entire screen, you just have to scroll to the top of the window here, click on view options, and then you could choose different sizes of the window. All right. Or you could actually just go to exit full screen. So then you are no longer in full screen. So you have different options to view the whiteboard as well. Now, in that example that we just looked at, the teacher was sharing a whiteboard with you, but you could also share a whiteboard as well. Now, that's provided that the teacher has enabled those settings. So let's first look at what happens if you try to share anything and the teacher has not enabled sharing. So I'm just going to click on the green button here, share screen. And when I click on it, you see the message there says host disabled attendee screen sharing, meaning that the teacher is not allowing screen sharing. Now, if the teacher allows screen sharing, so I'm going to activate screen sharing for us. So now the teacher has enabled screen sharing. If I go and click on share screen now, I get a few options of all the different things that I can share. And you can see one of them is the whiteboard. So if I choose whiteboard and then I click share, and I can do all the things that we talked about before. Now, once I am finished sharing my screen, I don't want to share it anymore. I just have to go to the top here where it says stop share, click stop share, and then my screen is no longer being shared again. So that's if you want to share your whiteboard. But there are other things you can share using the share screen function that we're going to be looking at now. Now, Zoom is a very powerful tool when it comes to sharing. You could share anything that's up on your screen. So once you have something opened on your screen, on your desktop, you can share it. So for instance, let me minimize my Zoom session here. So I'm going to click on the minimize button. Now, once I click on minimize, you see how small the window gets? So that's my Zoom window now. It doesn't go to the bottom of your desktop, but it just remains there. All right. Now, this is my desktop right now. I'm using a computer. I'm using Zoom on a computer here. I have a few things open. I have let me put this to the side here. I have my Facebook page, the eLearn Facebook page open, and if you haven't done so already, please join our eLearn Facebook page so you get real-time updates about what's happening on eLearn. I have a PowerPoint open. I have a website open, and I also have a YouTube channel open. So I have a few things open on my desktop. And the reason why I have all these different things open is that I'm going to show you what happens when I click on share screen now. So again, I'm just going to bring back up my Zoom window here. And if I want to go to open up the whole feature now, I just click on the green arrow and you can see my whole Zoom meeting window is open again. And I'm going to click on share screen. Now look at what happens when I click on share screen. I can either share my entire desktop with the entire class, or I could choose specific things to share. So like for instance, if I decide I just want to share this window that shows the Facebook page, so if I click on that window alone, that's all everyone will see is just that page. For instance, if I wanted to click on this website that talks about the WHO website, if I click on that and I click share, as you can see, there's a green border around that website, meaning that that's all that they are seeing. They don't see the rest of stuff on my desktop. They only see that page. All right. And again, once I'm finished sharing, I can just click stop share and the sharing stops. So I'm going to click on share screen again. And this one, the desktop, if I choose that option, all right, and I click share for that, now you can see the green border is going to at the periphery of my desktop. It means that everything that I see on my desktop, the whole class can see as well. So be very mindful of that when you are sharing your screen, that be mindful of what the class is seeing. So if you share your desktop, they're going to see everything on your desktop that you are seeing, they will see. Or you have the other option where you could choose specific windows and stuff. Now, one of the most used sharing options I can see for a student is that you might need to share your PowerPoint presentation with the class. So I'm going to stop sharing my desktop now. So I just scroll to the top and I click stop share. And I'm going to share my screen again. And I'm going to share my my PowerPoint. So I'm going to choose PowerPoint and click share. But before I do that, let me show you what happens. So these are all the different options I have here. Now let me go and minimize some of these windows now. And you will see that when I click on share screen again, these other windows will go. So I'm just going to close off this. I'm going to minimize my Zoom window. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to close my Facebook page now. I'm going to close this website. I'm going to close this YouTube channel that I was on. And all I have left on my desktop now is this PowerPoint presentation. Now let me go to share screen now. If I click on shared screen, you see all the other windows that was there originally are gone because they are no longer open. So it's only something that is open on your desktop will you be able to share with the rest of the class. All right, so in this case, I'm going to share the PowerPoint. Now, I should also point at the bottom here, there's share computer sound. So there are two ways in which you can share sound through your Zoom meeting. You can let your microphone pick up the sound of the computer, or if you click share computer sound, it means that the sound is going directly from your computer to the people who are in your Zoom meeting. So that's another option. So in this case, I'm going to choose PowerPoint, my PowerPoint, and I'm going to click share. And again, you can see the green border here is only around my PowerPoint. It's not it's not on my, I'm not sharing my entire desktop. So it means that the rest of the class can only see the PowerPoint. They can't see anything that is outside of this green border. So they can't see all of these things that I have on my desktop. They can't see my folders. They can't see anything else that is outside of the green border. Only what is within the green border is what's being shared with the rest of the class, which in this case is the PowerPoint presentation. So I can click on the PowerPoint presentation. I can even go to full screen. And when I go on full screen, it will open up as full screen on the other screens that the other students are using. All right. I can scroll through my PowerPoint presentation. So in this case, I was just talking about Zoom and so on. And here's the really cool stuff. You know like how we had the annotation toolbar for the whiteboard? You can also get the annotation toolbar for anything that you are sharing. So I can scroll to the top of the window here to get my options. All right. I can click on annotate. And there we go. We have the annotation panel once more. And I can do all the things that we looked at in the whiteboard. So I can add, I can use the stamp tool. I can tick off what I want. I can enter text. All right. I can draw on it. Like I can highlight, I can highlight stuff. I can also use this what's called Spotlight. And if I click on Spotlight and I click on it again, what it does is it works like a laser pointer. So I can point to different things, just like how you would use a laser pointer. All right. Eraser. So I can erase what I just wrote. Remember, you could only erase what you are doing. And other classmates can also come in there and annotate on your slides as well. So it's a very interactive feature that you could use while presenting. So I think that's very awesome when it comes to what you could do on Zoom. And as usual, once you are finished sharing, you just need to click at the top there, stop sharing. And once you click on stop sharing at the top, you're going to stop sharing. Another interactive feature that your teacher might use within your Zoom session is that they would use something called breakout rooms. And the breakout rooms in Zoom is a feature that allows you all to break up into smaller groups. So let's say your class had 20 students in it. When your teacher activates the breakout rooms, they can do 5 groups of 4 students. So now you will see from in your participants list, when the breakout rooms happen, you'll go from 20 people in there. Well, I should say 21 because you have to include the teacher. It will go now to just 4 people you'll be seeing there, and you could work together and then come back to the main session. So let's see how that looks. So first, the teacher has to activate the breakout rooms, and you will get the prompts how to join the breakout room. So that's what we're going to be demonstrating now. So the teacher is now activating breakout rooms. And as you can see, you're already getting a prompt saying that the host, which is the teacher, is inviting you to breakout room 1. So to join the breakout room, all you have to do is click on join breakout room. And now you're leaving the main session where you had all the students. And now you are in the breakout room. And you can do everything that you were doing before in the main session. All right. So again, you could, you have your mic, you have your cameras, you have your participants panel, but in this case, you see it's only you in this group because, well, it was just one example of one person there, but you could have other people that makes up your group. Your teacher is not in the group. Now, the teacher could come into the group at any time, but when the groups are now formed, that teacher is not there. This is really for you and your classmates to work together on some kind of problem. Now, that doesn't mean that if you need the teacher's help, you can call the teacher for help. All you have to do is that you see there's a new button here. So if you click on this button here, you can now see the message saying you can invite the host to this breakout room for assistance. So if you want to bring the teacher in because you have a question, you click on invite host. And when you click invite host, the teacher, is going to see a message come up on his screen saying that you all in this breakout room number 1 needs help. So when the teacher clicks on join breakout room, you see the teacher comes in, and then you could ask the teacher the question and stuff. Once the teacher is finished, the teacher will leave the breakout room. And you see, just as I said, the teacher is gone. But you could always ask for help again and invite the teacher in. Now, once the breakout room session is coming to an end, you will get a message saying you have 1 more minute to finish up. So let's look at that. Let's demonstrate that. So the teacher just clicked on closing all the rooms, and as you can see, you have now 55 seconds left. It's a countdown saying, well, the rooms are going to close automatically in that amount of time. So normally it's a 1 minute countdown. So it gives you enough time to finalize your messages and so on, save your whiteboards, and get all your notes together to come into the main session. Now, if you're ready to come into the main session, you could come into the main session anytime by just clicking return to main session. And now you're going to be going into this main session, which means that you're now in this session with all the students back in. So you're no longer in that small group, and you can work with everybody. So in most instances, when you come back here is where you're going to present what you did in the breakout room. And remember, once the meetings come into an end, if the teacher ends the meeting, well, then your windows are going to automatically close. Or if you need to leave the meeting, you just click on leave, and then you confirm by clicking leave meeting again. And there you go. You are out. Now, there are a few things you would want to consider when using Zoom. First thing is you want to do what is called a tech check. So you just want to make sure that your device is working properly, your mic is working, and so on. You could do that, do that a good time before the meeting starts. You want to join from a location with a strong and stable internet connection. As I said before, broadband internet is the way to go. Dial-up is not going to give you the speeds that you want. In fact, the faster the speed, the better for you. But anything that is a broadband connection will be fine. If you're using Wi-Fi, make sure that the Wi-Fi again is a strong and stable connection. So you don't want a situation where you're in a place where the Wi-Fi signal continues to drop, because that's going to drop the meeting as well. Be on time. In fact, be a little go at least 5 minutes before the meeting or the class is supposed to begin. And that way, if you're having any technical experience, if you're experiencing any technical difficulties, you could sort that out. I put there appearance matters, and what that means is that be mindful that you might be in a room all by yourself, but depending on what you have turned on or sharing, other people are seeing what you are seeing, or they can view you. So if your camera is on, make sure that you might be looking decent, but what about the background? Make sure the background, doesn't have anything you don't want anybody to see. All right, if you're sharing your screen, especially if you're sharing your desktop, remember whatever is on your desktop, everybody else is seeing. So always be mindful of that, because there are those videos on YouTube where they show you people taking their device while they're on Zoom. They're taking their devices into the bathroom, and then they realize, oh my, the Zoom meeting is still on, and everybody in the meeting is seeing everything. So yeah, just be careful about that. The other one is consider using a headphone and a microphone. And as I said before, that's optional. That's if you want to go the extra mile, and you could do that. But as I said before, like if you're using a computer and the computer has a built-in mic, that's going to be good enough. Mute your audio when you are not speaking. That's extremely important. Especially in a class full of people, if everybody's mic is on, it's going to have a lot of background noise. It's going to be very irritating, very distracting. When you are contributing to the class, please identify yourself. So in my example, I would have said, hi guys, my name is Stan Lee, and this is my contribution. All right. Try to engage with your instructor and peers. Now, this could, you just think of this session as a normal class session. If you have questions, if if you have a contribution to make, engage with your peers, engage with the instructor. And another thing to take note of or to remember is that these Zoom sessions, you're going to be using video, you're going to be using Wi-Fi or your internet. It's going to drain your device. Now, if it's a desktop computer plugged into the wall, well, then you don't have to worry about anything. But if you're using a laptop or a mobile device, just remember that either the device should be fully charged, but even better, please have your charger close by or have the device being charged while you're having the meeting. So there's a few things to consider to make your Zoom session an enjoyable and productive one. I hope this helps. You have a good grasp of how to use Zoom. But if you have any questions or concerns, please contact us at elearninghelp101@gmail.com. You could also call us at 662-2241 extension 2733 or extension 2731. Please, you could also follow us on Facebook, give live updates about eLearn, especially like when, eLearn goes down, you could get live updates on Facebook about what's happening. So take care, be safe, talk to you guys soon. Bye.